So lately I've been reading a lot. I've been reading a lot. Like, I'm not a reader, let me tell you. I don't like reading, and I don't, especially reading novels, because when it comes to classwork now, I have to read. I have no choice. Like, when it comes to exams, say I have to pass the exam, so I have to read. But now novels, I'm not a reader. But I have friends who are readers, and they will literally buy you a novel for a gift. So my friend bought for me a novel. I have been reading on and off. I am not under pressure to finish it. Like this one here. It's When You're Ready. This is How to Heal. This is How to Heal by Brina West. So I feel like this book is more of just telling you the real life situations and how to deal with grief. But yet again, I have another book here from my friend. This was just from my friend's book club. It's A Candle in the Wind by Austin Arnold. I have cold, so don't worry if you see me. Anyway, so this is A Candle in the Wind by Austin Arnold. I have read this book to the last chapter, and let me tell you, I got this book from my friend's book club in maybe last year, somewhere in the beginning of last year, and it's just been lying on my shelf there. Like, you know, I'm not one of those people. But the last few weeks, when I took social media break, when I was feeling overwhelmed with life, I was just like, let me just see how it works. And you know how hard it is for me to take social media breaks, especially because I do most of my work on social media. And so when I took a break, it was like a 1 week and a few days break. I read this book to the last chapter. I did read this book to the last chapter, and I was in it. You know how you read and you're in it, and I realized that this is what I had needed, because especially now that I was going through grief, I feel like it's a good thing to read books that resonate with how you're feeling at the season you are in at a particular time. And the season I was in was grief at that time. So this book really, really resonated with my feelings and how I felt. And if you ask me if I had to review Candle in the Wind by Austin Arnold, he said, a broken-hearted mare of my hero. Arnold's grandfather died, and his father also died of cancer at some point. And I feel like Arnold is really, really emotional, and he's back and forth with his emotions. And at some point, it's not like it's a bad thing to be emotional. I'm just reviewing what I thought. At some point, the story flows, and you're like, oh, now here we're going to continue with this. So then at some point, he just breaks down again and starts recapping about how the whole scenario was, how his father was admitted at Aga Khan, how he had to take bathroom breaks to go and cry. Even after the burial, he recounts, he displays a lot of emotion on how his father died and how lonely they are left behind. And so I felt like I resonated so well with Arnold, and it's not a bad thing to grieve. And it's also there's a place where he says, and I really agree with him, that when people say that time heals everything, it's not true. Time doesn't heal everything. I feel like we just learn to live with the situation the way it is, and we get to use to the situation. It is still there, especially if you get triggers. Like, there are times you can get triggered by something, then you're back to where you are. So time really doesn't heal anything. Yeah. Then, hey, lakini pia wewe Arnold, you know, there's a place here where Arnold says Masiro in Ugenya. Masiro is in Masiro is in the back and beyond of Ugenya. It is an extremely remote, primitive village that borders Luo land and the beginning of Mumia's side of Luya land. I love how he describes Masiro, but I want to believe that this was Masiro then when you wrote this book, because this book was written like a few years ago when maybe Masiro was not well developed, but now I believe it is well developed. And then now I am protesting as a girl who comes from the lakeside city of Kisumu. No, Arnold says. This is just an excerpt. That's why on that evening when I realized I had lost my dad to his pain, I left Aga Khan to go for a walk in an attempt to breathe. Kisumu, I will take the flag for this. It's still a very basic metropolis, and there are very few places you can go to draw in air, unlike parks in Nairobi. Other than the grimly crowded and boring Ogingodinga grounds, or one of the restaurants and bars, or an Imperial and Acacia that towers the city, Kisumu is still the brother that insists on joining the table of men even before coming of age. I decided... Really? You mean that's how you can talk about Kisumu? No, you can't talk about Kisumu that way. Anyway, yeah. So you need to grab yourself this book if you need one, and if you just need to resonate with. Sometimes if you're going through something, it is good to look through and see people who are going through the same thing and just be with them. So right now, this is what I'm reading. I want to read more on grief, just to know how people are coping with their own griefs, and I'm also aware that it has no time limit for me. When I feel like grieving, I'll grieve. When I feel like moving on, I will move on. So I am not under pressure to move on, and I believe that when the time is right, God is going to send the right person in my life, and we will still have a match that was made in heaven, and we will live a happy life ever after. Bye.